Good afternoon, learners. Today we are going to revise ICT paper for the Diploma in Secretarial. We're going to revise. It is for the November series, Diploma in Secretarial Studies, ICT Practical, November series. So we are going to revise on task 2, which is about spreadsheets. Now, when you're given such a task, first of all, you must enter all the data in your spreadsheet or in your sheet. You must put all your data like I've done. I've put all the data as it appears from your question paper to your computer. So it should look exactly the same. Now today we're going to revise all those questions that are asked about these spreadsheets. Now let us start on question 1 or question A. It says open a spreadsheet program and create the following worksheet as it appears in figure 2. Save the workbook as dividends in the exam 2901 folder. So all the time when you're given such a task, after entering this data, you need to save it, and you save it in the next exam folder or whichever folder that was been told to save. Then question 2, it says using cell addresses and appropriate function, determine the following. Number 1, determine the number of members in Wasafi Circle Limited. Ideally, we are being told to count how many members are there in Wasafi Circle. Now, we can see that we have Joram, Mercy, Catherine, Bruno, and all that. So we can count those people by just looking at the names. But that is not how this one works. Now, they need us to put a function. Now, to count the number of members, we use the count function. But the count function has only one rule, that it cannot count using this text. So we need to use a number. So in this case, we're going to use deposits to count the number of members. The number of members should appear here in this cell. So let us put our function is equals to count, open the bracket. You are counting from B4 through to B9. When you close the bracket, press enter. So the number of members is 6. We have used a function to count the number of members, so we use the count function here. Now, another question, use this cell addresses and appropriate function to determine the lowest deposit. The lowest deposit here, we need to put that value there. The lowest deposit, we're going to use which kind of function? We're going to use the mean function. The mean function. Many people confuse between the mean and the mean function. Mean M-I-N and mean M-E-A-N. So this one we're talking about the minimum. So the minimum, as you can see here, the minimum that was deposited was 50,000. So we need to use a function to reach to that value. So you put the equal sign. This is the function, is equals to mean. Mean means minimum. Open the bracket from B4 through to B9. You close the bracket, press enter. So the value is 50,000. The minimum, the lowest deposit was 50,000. Now they're asking us again, get the mean number of member shares to 2 decimal places. Mean number of the mean number of member shares to 2 decimal places. So the mean, we're going to use the average function. So your mean is going to appear here. So we're going to write is equals to average, open the bracket from up here. No, the mean member share. So it is going to be average. The mean member share is going to be from this point, which is C4, through to this point. Close the bracket, press enter, like that. So the mean share is 116,000 or 116,800. So they are telling us it should be to 2 decimal places. So you can increase your decimal places from here, so you can reduce it from here. So if you reduce, it will be 0 like that. You can increase like that, so it is to 2 decimal places. Now the next question, using cell address only, determine the dividend for each member. Using cell address only, determine the dividend for each member. Format the value to 2 decimal places. Format the value to 2 decimal places. Hint: dividends is equals to 10.2% of deposit plus 11% of shares. So to get the dividends, we've been told that dividend is equals to 10.2% of deposit plus 11% of shares. So it's going to be is equals, open the bracket, 10.2% divided by 100 times 90,000, which is B4, plus 11 divided by 100 times the member share, which is C4. Close the bracket, press enter like that, you get it. Then come and pull it down like that. So I've been told this should be to 2 decimal places. There we go. Now next question, using cell addresses and the if function, determine the remark for each member. Using cell addresses and the if function, determine the remark for each member as good if the shares are more than 100,000 or poor otherwise. Using cell addresses and the if function, determine the remark for each member as good if the shares are more than 100,000 or poor otherwise. Now we're going to use the if function. So is equals to if, open the bracket, so if the shares, so if C4 is greater than or equal to 100,000, comma, quotes, good, comma, or else poor, quotes, poor. Then you close the bracket, press enter like that. Then you come and pull it down from here. There we go. Now we have finished that. Now there's another question saying save the changes to print out later. The sheet showing the formula used. Save the changes to print out later. The sheet showing the formula used instead of values and the chart on landscape. Now, for you to show the formulas, they don't want to see these values. They want to see the formulas that we have used here. You come to formulas, then you go to show formula here. Click. So it changes like that. So there you go. So it has shown your formula, and then you are done. You're finished. Okay, learners, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so that whenever you post a video, you can always be the first to see, so that you can pass exams.